Page 55, Minka. Here they're introducing you to a musical form called theme and variations. Very common. It's where you get a melody of some sort, simple, and on 55 that's what it is. Right, that's the melody, that's the theme. Then on page 56, at the end of the first line, you see a double bar and a 3/4. Well, the double bar tells you it's a new section, and a theme and variations, they almost always will separate each variation on the theme and so forth with double bars, because each one is its own section. So now you know you're going into a new section, and they're changing the time signatures, 3/4 instead of 4/4. But now we have something different. You can still sort of hear that melody, but now in a 3/4 time. Then if you get to the bottom of page 56, if you get there, when you get there, whatever, just get there. You see the double bars again, and now the time signature goes to common time. So on page 57, we get the second variation of that theme. Sort of hear the main theme in it. It's just altered slightly. It's a variation of it. Yeah, and that's what theme and variations is all about. I would like to point out a few things in this piece. Starting on page 55, I'm going to kind of take both hands at the same time here. Right at the beginning, you have a staccato and legato, and it's really important that you get them because it's the contrast. The first measure in the right hand is all staccato, second legato, third staccato, it's alternating. But the left hand is all staccato, and that's where it gets tricky. So you have to you got to keep the left hand staccato. Second line, third measure, right hand's legato, left hand staccato. Until the last measure, they're both staccato. Now, the fingering wise, this is lively but not too fast. According, I don't know what that is. All right, it's not a slow piece. All right, but it's not a real fast piece. It's a comfortable, sort of. I think maybe an allegretto. It's a fun piece. All right. Okay. Now in a theme with variations, the tempo can change also. You have there at the beginning in the right hand these quarter notes. There's thumb on them, and you can do that if you want. But I would like to be thinking about using different fingerings on different notes. I mean, when you have repeated notes, maybe alternate the finger. Here you could do a 1 2 1 2, 1 2 1 2 1. Here it's a 2 1 2 1 2. Then back to 1 2 1 2 1. Just alternate the fingerings on repeated notes. It's a good exercise, and it will prepare you for the more difficult stuff coming up later. I would suggest you do that throughout. Then for page 56, on the first variation, it starts on the second line of page 56. Melody goes to the left hand. Now the right hand, there's no more staccato. This is a smooth piece. They've added pedal. Oh, goody. So make sure you're accurate in how long you hold the notes down. All right, we have a half note, and then in the right hand a quarter note, and then in the third beat, it's the left hand by itself. The right hand comes up. In the left hand, in the repeated notes, 3 1 3 1 3 1 is fine. Just to use different fingers on repeated notes. 4 3 4 3 4 or whatever you want. And notice the tempo changed to slowly. Now, when we do this with a metronome, I can't do that. I can't do, unless I cut the speed in half. So I'm going to play the whole thing. When we do a play together part of this video, I'm going to do the whole thing slowly. And you can do these different speeds on your own. I'll come back to the pedal in a minute. Let's go on to the second variation on page 57. Now we're back to fast again, and here. Now here, the left hand is playing what we call the upbeats, the weak beats. In the 4/4 time, or common time, it's 1 and 3 are the natural accents. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means 2 and 4 are the quiet beats. We call them upbeats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. It makes it syncopated, and that's what we're doing here. It's the left hand is tricky. Kind of fun, actually, especially when you get to speed it up like it more or less could go. And that's the tricky here. Do you get the staccatos where they go? You get the left hand on the weak beats, and just have some fun with it. At the bottom, the last few measures, you see where the left hand has that low D, and the right hand comes down. Even though it's in the bottom clef, the right hand is playing the top D. You can tell because of the stems, all right? They're not connecting them together. Here. And then the last notes there with the whole note, that has an 8VA under it. So you got to come down an octave. Both hands are going down an octave here because it's the all-in-one staff. Now, if they had put the top D in the upper staff, say just change the clef to a bass clef and put the D there, they could have, then that D would stay where it is and the bottom D would go down by itself. Right? They didn't do that. So that 8VA applies to the staff, all the notes in the staff. So both of those notes have to go down. I don't know why they put it in two hands. I don't understand that, because you're here for the first couple of notes. In my mind, if you'll play the quarter note D in the left hand with the thumb, then you can play those last notes just with the left hand. It's an octave. And that's a lot easier than reaching the right hand all the way down to the extremes of the low. I mean, when you have a big belly like mine, that's hard to do. So if you want to just use one hand on that whole note D and the quarter note, just play an octave down there. Now on page 56, they have pedaling marked. And I cannot for the life of me figure out what they're doing here. I've tried to understand what it is. See, I like to have notes last their correct value. And in the right hand, they've got quarter notes. That's one beat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But the pedal screws that up the way they've marked it, because the pedal is going to hold down that quarter note. Make it sound like a dotted half note, actually, because you're holding it down that long. If I pedal it the way they've got it, so I'm wondering, what are they doing? Well, I'm guessing, I'm not sure, that they just want to ensure it's legato. They have a note, left hand legato, and they want the pedal to ensure the left hand stays legato. If that's the case, the pedaling gets tricky. There's no way to let off of the right hand and catch the left hand with the pedal so it can connect to the next note. You see, when we have repeated notes on a piano, we can't connect them. There's always a little silence between them, so we have to use the pedal to connect them. That way the sound keeps going. Well, our quarter note in the right hand isn't going to be a quarter note. It's going to be a half note then. So what I'm feeling here is the left hand legato is more important than the quarter note in the right hand being one beat long. So very carefully, forget the rhythm, I'll count out the beats slowly here. It's what beat 1, I push the half note down. On beat 2, I play the right hand. Immediately after I play the right hand, I push the pedal down. When I play beat 3 in the left hand, I lift the right hand up, but the pedal stays down. Then I play the half note in the next beat with the pedal down. After I play the note, I lift the pedal up, play the right hand, push the pedal down, play the third beat, lift the right hand. So to speed that up a little bit, it's like this. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now when you get over to the last two measures there, you can't hold the pedal down between the E and the F because it'll brum. You get that. We don't want that. So you have to lift the pedal up after you play the F in the left hand. Okay. Each time the pedal goes down right after you play the right hand chord. It comes up either on the first beat, right after you play the first beat, or right after you play the third beat, depending on the measure. Till you get down to the end, and then it's legato. And that left hand is tied right there at the bottom of page 56. So watch it. This is in minor. And that last chord, they changed it to a D major. They do that sometimes. All right, it's for effect. A lot of minor pieces will end in a major chord just for effect. And that's what they've done. Now when you get to the bottom of page 57, the pedal's simple. You're going to push it down after you play the notes, the dotted quarter notes. You're not going to hear a quarter rest because the pedal's going to keep the sound going, but it lets you lift your hands up for one count so you can move them down here. And you just keep the pedal down. And you lift it up on beat 2 on that last measure. So when you play the last chord, you got to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, off. And the pedal and the hand come up at the same time. And that's all I have to say about this. Let's try this out slowly. Now what I'm going to do, since we're not performing it here, is I want to play page 55. Then we're going to stop. We're going to turn the page. I'm going to count us in again, and then we're going to do pages 56 and 57. If you're performing it, you can't do that. You have to, the beat goes on. You have to be able to make that page turn from 55 to 56 without screwing up the beat, the flow of the music. Now in this one, you might be able to do it depending on how fast you're playing it, because the left hand just plays a staccato quarter note, and then it's got the rest of the measure with nothing to do. So you can use your left hand as you're playing these notes in the right hand to quickly reach up and turn the page. So you can get the page turn without messing up the beat. That's how I suggest you do the page turn. Otherwise, you memorize the piece. Common time, or 4/4, right? I'll give us 4 counts and we'll come in. Go ahead and put your foot on the pedal right at the beginning because you're going to need it eventually, and just have it there ready to go. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, rest. Stop, turn the page. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest, rest. rest, 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 2, 3, rest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.